Okay, so we've been working with transformations of the reflection, rotations, and translations, reflect, and rotations. So now we're going to look at individual pieces of the figures. So number one says triangle ABC was reflected across the x-axis to create triangle PDR. Then triangle PDR was translated by taking the pre-image, changing it by x plus 9, y plus 2 to create triangle RHT. So when we started out, with triangle ABC, correct? So I took triangle ABC and I drew it on the coordinate grid. After I drew it on the coordinate grid, then I reflected it across the x-axis. So I reflected it across the x-axis and created triangle PDR. After I reflected a triangle ABC across the x-axis, then I took triangle PDR and I translated it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units to the right, and then 1, 2 units up, and then I drew triangle GHT. Do you understand what I did? Part A, complete the statements below. Do you see this little line above the A and the B? That line literally stands for line. Yeah, not really creative. If it looks like a line, that's what it stands for. So this says line or side AB, and then do you see this other symbol? Circle that circle, or circle that symbol, and you're going to label it. That symbol means congruent. That line means line or side. Make sure you label those, both. So this is side, AB is congruent to blank and blank. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut how you can do this without any pictures. Because if I take side ABC and I reflect it across triangle PDR, here's A and B, doesn't that match up with P and D? Mm-hmm. So side AB is congruent to side PD. A matches up with P and B matches up with D. You have to have these in the same order. If you do side DP, it is wrong. You have to have them in corresponding order. Did you catch that? A matches up with P, so you have to put P first, and B matches up with D. Then I translated it over here. A matches up with G, so side G, and B matches up with H. Now I'm going to show you how to do that without having the transparency to slip over. First triangle name is ABC, right? Write it down over on the side. What is the name of the second triangle? PDR. And then what is the third triangle called? GHT. Notice the names are in corresponding order. A matches up with P. B matches up with D. A also matches up with G, and B also matches up with A. So could you do this without a picture?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think it's easier without the picture than it is with the picture. What does this symbol mean, everybody? Or. So side CB, what does this symbol mean? Congruent. Write down, this means congruent, because that one I think you're going to forget more. So side CB is congruent to, C corresponds to R, so side R, and B corresponds to D. Side C also corresponds to T, and B also corresponds to, no, it's just wind. So we can verify that by taking triangle ABC, reflecting it, C matches up with R, B matches up with D. C matches up with T, B matches up with H. So does this work? What's this symbol mean? Line or side. And what's this symbol mean? So side CA is congruent to side. C corresponds to R. A corresponds to P. C also corresponds to T. And A also corresponds to G. So what do we know about all of these sides? What do we know that AB and PD and GH all are? So what's that mean?
They're the same shape.
They're the same shape, they're all sides. What's it mean by sides?
They're all the same size, right?
They're all the same length, right?
That.
Good. All right, part B is triangle ABC. Oop, what does the symbol mean? Circle it. Write it. So is triangle ABC congruent to triangle PDR? Yes or no?
Yes.
And did I prove that to you by the transparency?
Yes.
Part C is triangle ABC congruent to RHT? Yes or no? Well, how is that true? Because ABC created PDR, right?
Mm-hmm.
PDR created GHT, so how do we know that these two are congruent? How do we know they're the same shape and same size? Because PDR is congruent to ABC, so if PDR is congruent to this, these two have to be congruent also. Good job. Part D is triangle GHT congruent to triangle PDR. So is triangle GHT congruent to PDR? Yes or no? Okay. Problem E. If the area of triangle ABC is 2.5 units squared, then the area of triangle PDR equals, so the area of this triangle equals 2.5 units squared. So the area of this triangle has to be how much? 2.5 units squared. Why do you say that? Why are they the same amount? Because they are congruent. This is a reflection of this. These are congruent, so they have to have the same area. Problem E, if the area of triangle, problem F, if, do you see this little M? Circle it. That means measure. So if the measure of, and do you see this symbol? What does that symbol look like?
Greater.
Greater,
Triangle.
this looks like that. So, does it look like a triangle? It looks, this is an angle. So this is angle. Label those so you can remember what those are, or what those stand for.
I was close.
Yes, you were getting there. So if the measure of angle A equals 35 degrees, then the measure of angle, now do we need to look at their picture or can we use our cheat sheet? A corresponds to, and the measure of angle G has to be 35 degrees. You have to put that angle symbol. That angle symbol is a diagonal line and then straight across the bottom. Problem G, if the, what's the M stand for? Come on guys, what's M stand for?
Measure.
So if the measure of angle B equals 85 degrees, then the measure of angle D and the measure of angle H equals 85 degrees. Do problem H on your own? If, what's M stand for? So if the measure of angle T equals 60 degrees, then the measure of angle R and the measure of angle equals 60 degrees. Okay, part I, determine whether each statement is true or false. What's this line mean? Label it, line or side. And since this is a side, we would say side AB. Side AB, what's this symbol mean? Congruent, circle it and label it congruent. So side AB is congruent to side FZ. So side A is congruent to FZ. True or false? False. Yeah, all of these are false, aren't they? I forgot to change them. This is from another. I copied this part down and forgot to go back and change the letters. I am so sorry about that. Stop the video.